Hello, my name is Michelle Bolaños, and I am going to present the dual language program in the school, the Roadrunner Middle School. And I have extracted a part of their mission statement, and it states, "We are committed to sustaining an environment in which individuals representing diverse cultures and experiences instruct our children or our students in the meaning of a global community, in the value of integrity and leadership, and in the importance of lifelong learning." So I'm going to go back to this later on in the presentation to see if there's some validity in this statement. A New Horizons. So the dual language program was implemented in this school about 10 years ago, after the district decided that they were going to start the program, and they were actually influenced by researchers who had all this knowledge and evidence about the benefits that it would bring to our students. We also live close to a border, so it seemed deemed right and necessary. I remember attending a fantastic training that we went to as part of a PD by Dr. Collier, who presented the graph, and we were all so amazed. When I first heard it, I was so excited. I was going to be in a dual language program, and I was a dual language student myself, so yes, it was great. At the end, I knew my students would actually get the best of both worlds. So I cannot say that everything was done correctly. I remember the school started telling all their middle school teachers, basically, who had a Hispanic name, like for instance me, Bolaños, you're going to teach dual language in our new program. So definitely my last name was associated to the language that I spoke, but I don't think I was really ready to teach such academic language. We had not gone through any training. I just didn't feel ready, but I was like, I'll be there for you. I was so excited. I immediately volunteered to join the curriculum team. At the end, after 2-3 years, I started training teachers. But basically my job was to translate the curriculum itself. Wow. I realize now that we were not following the rules, after everything I've learned now, to correctly implement a dual language program. So the pathway was that we were going to offer a 50-50 with one teacher in the main subjects, which were social studies, science, and math. And we prepared ourselves, and we received our first set of kids in 6th grade who had already come from that dual process of kinder, first, and so on all the way through 5th. As they came to us with 1 credit of high school for the Spanish credit that they needed in high school, and they would receive a 2nd credit once they took that 6th grade class or classes that year. And we were not offering anything else but that. Several years later, I would say about 3 years ago, my principal approached me and she said, "Would you mind teaching the Spanish language arts to the 6th graders?" And I just love my 6th graders, and I love the dual language, and I was like, yes, I'll go for it. Little did I know, we didn't have any resources. Here I was again, pulling all of these resources, looking at other districts in the United States, what were they offering? And asking myself, am I truly doing enough, the right thing for these students? And so little by little, I became stronger as a teacher. I try to go to more PDs so I can better myself, so I can offer them the best that I could. And that would be it. So unfortunately, this is the first year, 2024-2025, that our school is not offering dual language anymore. What they did, as I say, to maybe hush the parents, was offer these students another class. We had very good Spanish parents that were part of this program, that were supporting the teachers, that were supporting their students. It was devastating to them. And when they came to me in the house party that we do at the beginning, they were concerned, and I can see it in their face. They were concerned, and they were basically devastated that their children were no longer going to belong to a program that they had started since kinder. And how is it fair that all these other years, all these kids are receiving this credit for high school, and now my child is not? So what does the district do? They begin an exploratory language course to supplement the Spanish language arts class. Let's look a little bit into this class. So I teach this class to 6th graders. The objectives of the class is that the students have an overview of 6 languages, and I include geography, and I also include historical background and culture of each country. The students learn the basics of Latin, Greek, German, French, Italian, Japanese, and Spanish. So my question, what I ponder is, are we really doing a disservice to these students? I know they say that in studies that students can learn a language in 5 to 7 years, but I think the more that we develop the Spanish language, the more they develop their English language. And this class, for me, is definitely a disservice. That's my answer. We have a year to teach all these languages. So in reality, they're just getting the basics of maybe sounds, some vocabulary of each and every one of them. And it's not enough time to teach accordingly. So yes, for me, it's a disservice. A lot of parents are already complaining. It seems to be a little hard for that age group to be involved in all of these processes. I know there are benefits to learning a lot of languages. And I know that some of the parents, might be like, oh gosh, my child is learning all these languages, but are we really learning a language in a 3 weeks, 4 weeks time? So I have a new strategy. I spoke to my principal, and she was definitely interested in my views. And I think for the students' benefits, that next year I am going to shorten the time even more, just so that they can get a feel of culture of these language, the culture of these countries, what it sounds like, how students learn in those countries where those languages belong to, in the Romance languages. But I am definitely going to expand the Spanish, and she agreed. And that is what I'm doing. So I am going to give my students the opportunity, whether they're dual language or not dual language. So the ones that are not dual language will benefit. The ones that are dual language will continue to benefit. And at least go ahead and review those skills little by little that they have lost maybe, and give them the opportunity to actually work a whole semester in Spanish. Unfortunately, also, we won't no longer teach Spanish 3 and Spanish 4 pre-AP, which I taught as well for my dual language classes. So next year we are only offering the foreign languages of Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. So this is kind of like a pre-class to deciding, well, maybe in 7th grade I would like to learn Spanish 1. And hopefully that, it pushes a lot of students to learn a foreign language, especially Spanish. So now I'm going to talk from my heart. When we implemented this program, everybody was just so excited. The parents were excited, the students were excited, the teachers were excited. But the community was excited that these students were going to be able to be serviced the way that it should, okay, for them to be able to be taught in their mother language and home language, and support their culture. And I just think that the way the district did it was way too fast. Nobody was ready. We didn't have resources. We didn't know how to communicate with parents at first, definitely. And then the way they chose the teachers was just like, oh, you're Miss Lopez. You could speak Spanish, right, Miss Lopez? But it wasn't really about that. Then, as the years went by, and I guess TA started imposing the laws here as far as certification, we were all urged to get certified. And we were taking studies left and right so that we can be prepared for the test. A lot of teachers took it and failed it once, twice, and even 3 times. I got ready and I took it and I passed and I'm certified. And the year I got certified, they told me, which was last year, they said, we're not doing this anymore. So, I just feel like, why not continue? So my next question here, point is was it failure or was it bad decision? So was it the decision made that came from the district that we were not doing this anymore? So yes, there are some schools that are still offering the dual language program, but they're clustered, and on the west side, we're not one of them. So I just think that it just sends the wrong message to parents, to the community, that we have so many students that are bilingual, that are Hispanics, that speak the language, that you're not important to us anymore. We're not doing this for you anymore. So what I wish for is for it to come back hard and strong so that we can give these students and make them feel at home, so that we can make them feel at home.